Hello everyone, I'm back and I saw a couple new movies, but before I get into those, just gonna say in my Oscars video,
Which you should definitely watch right now.
I said at the end that I was gonna make a best 2025 video. That would be the next video I made, but unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but I was caught up with the Boston Underground Film Festival, and that was a lot of fun, a really great experience, saw a lot of great movies, saw a lot of bad movies as well, but it was a really cool experience, my first film festival. And yeah, it took up like 4 days of my time that I would have spent making the best 2025 video, but just got no time to make it. Unfortunately, it is what it is. If I could go back in time, I would still choose to go to Buff rather than make the best 2025 video. So yeah, no video for that, but if you want to see the list anyway, you can check it out on my Letterboxd. I have a Letterboxd. You should follow me on Letterboxd if you like my stuff. With that out of the way, let's just get started with the reviews. First, I saw Hoppers, which is directed by Daniel Chong, the creator of We Bare Bears. It is a Pixar movie, an original Pixar movie, the most successful original animated movie in the post-pandemic or something like that. And I had a really good time watching it. When I did my Oscars video and I got to Elio, I didn't really talk about the movie because it was boring. And I just ranted about people complaining about a perceived lack of original films despite not bothering to watch original films. And I said all of that I said because it's just objectively healthy for the industry when movies that aren't based on an IP are successful. Variety is the spice of life, and it looks like Hoppers is doing very well, which is good. I want Pixar and Disney to be rewarded for making good original films so that we don't get disasters like the Snow White live action. The movie is about a young woman named Mabel who uses this device to put her consciousness into a robot beaver in the hopes of stopping a highway from being built over a piece of land that she is very, very protective of and has a lot of sentimental value. I tend to like movies that have an environmentalist message, so this movie had me on the premise alone, but it had a lot of other strengths as well. I thought Mabel was good in the exact opposite ways that Elio was annoying. She's strong-willed and stubborn, but also genuinely passionate about her belief in what's right. She's very endearing and very, very relatable to watch. I like the mayor character too. A worse animated film would have made him a cunning, evil mastermind, but I like that he's just a guy. He's just a guy, a sleazy guy. It's more realistic that way. All of the voice acting performances were good, like Piper Curda and Bobby Moynihan and John Hamm and Dave Franco. I really like the animation as well. Animated movies featuring animals are nothing new, but I love how we get such a wide array of different animals and species in this movie, and it uses that for a lot of really creative sequences. I do feel like the movie's message is a bit neutered though. In the end, the most evil character isn't actually the mayor, but instead one of the animals, which to me feels like a cop-out, but I think this is done in service of a more optimistic and hopeful message about how societal change comes from not just an individual effort, but a community effort. It's a good message to give to kids and to just people in general who might feel completely powerless on an individual level with what's going on in the world now. Like, let's be real here, guys. They're not actually going to kill the mayor in this kid's movie. Like, I don't know if you were expecting that, but it doesn't happen. And in general, the movie has just a Pixar sheen to it that I'm not super into. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it's the closest to classic Pixar that Pixar has felt in a very long time, so I welcome it. Despite some small misgivings I had a really good time watching Hoppers. Good voice acting, good animation, good themes, good music as well. Basically everything you want in a quality animated family film is found in Hoppers. Yeah, 7 out of 10. The other movie that I want to talk about was Project Hail Mary, directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. This is their long-awaited return to directing a film. They've been producing some films as of late. Overall, I enjoy their directorial work. The Jump Street films are really fun. I like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and the Lego Movie is just one of the best animated films ever made. Seeing trailers for this movie, however, I wasn't particularly moved. I've never read the original book. Ryan Gosling doesn't have the same pull over me that he used to, that he's doing these bigger projects. The trailers didn't really seem to have that Lord and Miller style that I enjoy. And in general, this type of four quadrant commercialized kind of movie isn't really my jam. That's not to say I can't enjoy a movie like this. It's just that it's not really what I like to see. With all that said, I ended up liking the movie a bit better than I expected, probably because my expectations were lower. I really did enjoy a lot of the film, but there were many moments that made me wish I was watching other movies instead. The movie follows Ryan Gosling as Ryland Grace, a science teacher who is forced to go on a space mission to find out why the sun is dying, and along the way he meets an alien who he calls Rocky. I thought that the space visuals were gorgeous and epic, and I loved the scale of them, and there were some solid sequences, namely when Ryland Grace and Rocky go to that green planet, although that reminded me a lot of Interstellar. I like the part of the movie where Grace first meets the alien and they both learn more about each other, although it made me wish I was watching Arrival. I really find the idea of a seemingly ordinary guy being thrust into the position of extreme bravery and heroism, and he ends up pulling it off, pretty cool. Although it made me wish I were watching the Lego movie. That's a big problem with the movie for me, just a lot of stuff from movies that I liked a lot more. I thought Ryan Gosling was pretty solid in the movie. I thought that the effects for the alien Rocky were really cool. They seemingly use a mix of practical and computer generated effects, and it's not super noticeable. It is noticeable, but it doesn't really bother me. The movie is really just bogged down by the pace and the script. I thought the movie had far too much humor that didn't work for me, though not being outright obnoxious, just didn't really find it that funny. I thought it had too many forced emotional beats as well, especially near the end. The music was pretty mixed for me as well. While overall I liked the style it was going for, almost post-rock-esque, not like Swans or Godspeed You Black Emperor, more like Explosion in the Sky. Half the time I felt like it complemented the emotions that the scene is trying to convey, while the other half I felt like it was overdoing it and almost trying to replace the emotions of the scene. Also, I didn't feel like the non-chronological storytelling was used very effectively. Many times there would be a flashback and I was just confused why it was placed where it was, especially in the last hour. The last hour as a whole really almost just derailed the movie for me. The multiple endings complaint is something that a lot of people have said before, but I really did feel like the movie was coming to a close several times in that last hour. And like by that point in the film, it really confused me like why they continued having flashbacks that late. I know that the book tells the story non-chronologically, but you could always just change that for the movie. My coworker who saw the movie and also read the book said that the movie kind of doesn't really go into the whole amnesia aspect of the book, because in the book the government forces him into a coma and he thus has amnesia, which explains all the flashbacks. But in the movie, it didn't really feel that way. It didn't feel like we were learning new information about him as he was. It just felt like the movie telling us information that we didn't really need to know, that didn't have anything to do with Ryland Grace's character arc. Like, you don't need to adapt the book one to one, and like clearly you didn't want to because you changed stuff from the book. But it's whatever, because, you know, I didn't read the book, so I can't really complain. All in all, Project Hail Mary had a lot that I liked, but I think it just didn't really reach its potential. I do see what people enjoy about it. I can see how the corniness and optimism works for people. Gorgeous visuals, great practicals, pretty good Ryan Gosling performance. Really flubbed it with the script though. Could have just told the story chronologically if I'm being honest. Overall, a 6 out of 10 for me. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you liked the video, subscribe if you want to see more. Again, sorry about not having a video for my best 2025, but you can see the list on my letterbox, which you should definitely follow. Also follow my Twitter if you feel so inclined. I don't post that often, but If you just want to follow just to follow, that's fine too, I guess. Don't really care either way, but definitely do follow the Letterboxd if you want to keep up to date on what I'm watching. Again, thank you for tuning into this video. Goodbye.